addicted to office.
I feel like running for Congress.
3 men aiming to make the unlikeliest of comebacks. 2 of them trying to come back from prison.
You get found guilty, you pay the price.
Politics is a profession very few walk away from willingly. Sure, there's some senators and congressmen who often move on to lucrative lobbying careers. But boy, being out of office really stings for these guys, and the ache never goes away. So it's no wonder that so many make an attempt to make a comeback. I asked Willie Geist to spend some time with 3 colorful figures who have a real chance of making it back into office. 2 of them, in fact, spent some time in the big house.
This 87-year-old man is working the phones for votes.
I'm one politician knows how to deliver on his promises. You know me, I'm Governor Edwards, you're right.
That's Edwards, as in Edwin Edwards, congressional candidate who spent 16 years as governor of Louisiana before spending 8.5 years in prison for racketeering. Edwards is one in a crop of candidates, characters all, seeking political redemption this fall.
I get aerobic exercise.
There's 76-year-old Larry Pressler out for a morning jog and stunning the political world as he runs neck and neck in a race to win back the South Dakota Senate seat he lost in 1996.
I have my seniority. I can be a powerful senator for South Dakota.
But one person isn't so thrilled about the prospects of a comeback, his wife.
She's really not excited about coming back to Washington.
Hi, everybody.
And there's the legendary former 6-term Providence Mayor Buddy Cianci, looking to return to City Hall after a prison stint of nearly 5 years for conspiracy to commit racketeering.
I did my time in this system that we have in America. You get found guilty, you pay the price. And I've always proclaimed my innocence, I still do. And the fact is, I did it like a man.
Released in 2007 from what he calls the federal gated community, the 73-year-old Cianci wants his old job back, holding court on this night at a drag bingo game.
Under the B for Buddy, 6.
Why dive back in?
We've had over a decade of decline in the city. That's number one. And I looked around to see who was running, and none of them had the vision, and so I decided that I would run for mayor.
Cianci has his share of critics, but the polls show Providence just might give Buddy another try.
I got you out of a bad time in 1980. Well, I'm glad you remember it.
Even over the phone, everyone knows exactly who Edwin Edwards is.
Governor, did that gentleman say you got him out of a bad time in 1980?
That's what he said.
Do you recall getting him out?
I don't have any idea what it was. But he was very grateful.
Edwards spent the evening this way, cold calling and then catching up with voters who feel like old friends.
Hey!
Edwards, who many people in Louisiana still call the governor and who now has a 1-year-old son, was first elected to Congress 50 years ago.
You know, a lady asked me the other day, you're 87 years old, you're retired, why don't you just do what you feel like doing? I said, lady, that's what I'm doing. I feel like running for Congress.
And he's not worried about those 8.5 years behind bars.
I did nothing wrong. And I want to point something out that had nothing to do with my politics, nothing to do with my role as governor.
The justice system disagreed, but as we walked around Baton Rouge, people were overwhelmingly happy to see him.
And I think Pierre would be an excellent congressman.
Edwards has provided American politics with some of its most famous quotes, like this one from his 1983 gubernatorial race.
Well, that campaign provided another, perhaps your most famous quote, which is, "The only way I can lose this race is..."
If I got caught in bed with a dead woman or a live boy, and you know what? There was no chance of that happening.
Willie joins me now. By the way, I note he said he did nothing wrong. Nobody that ever serves time ever says they were guilty.
Everybody does, yeah. There seems to be some debate over Edwin Edwards' greatest quote, the one he just said there, or the one he said in his 1991 race against David Duke, of course, the Grand Wizard of the Klan. He was asked, do you have anything in common with David Duke? And he said, the only thing we have in common is that we are both wizards underneath the sheets.
Buddy Cianci, of the 3, Buddy Cianci's the one that's most likely going to get back in office, isn't he?
Yeah, let's tick through these. I think if you ask Mike Murphy, he'd tell you Pressler, although running neck and neck, is probably still an underdog in South Dakota. But Buddy Cianci is in the lead. And when you go back to Providence, people like him. They feel like he delivered services. There is a constituency out there who says, we don't need a 70-something guy out there who's been in jail running our city. but there's still some affection for him.
There is, and he still sells his pasta sauce.
This is the updated Mayor's Own marinara sauce.
Without the squirrel?
Without the squirrel, as he called it, the toupee he famously wore for so long. That's for you, Chuck.
Willie, you had too much fun there. Thanks, buddy. When we come back, 2 weeks to go. Are we seeing signs of a small but steadily building Republican wave?